brother used to get things for free at supermarkets. Me and my brother were constantly treated like we didn't belong in our family. All the heavy tasks that could have been done by my mom and her boyfriend were done by us. Anyways, when we were in elementary school, we used to get home and had to wait an hour and a half for our sister to get home so we could actually get into our house since we were never given a key. Being kids, we obviously didn't have money and would get hungry waiting out there. Sometimes when we had a few bucks, we'd go to a supermarket close by and buy some cheap snacks. Oftentimes we wouldn't have enough money and some people behind us would offer to pay for our stuff. We would kind of take advantage of this guilt trip, though it didn't work all the time. The only time it wasn't done for snacks was when my brother did it for a pencil pouch he needed for school because he got in trouble.
I have rental therapy problem and I am lying to my parents about it. I have been feeling emotionally numb for a while. My love life is always ending bad as I always get unloyal partners, and I have lost contact with my two friends. We were a trio and we know how those go. I have problems with my parents and most of the time I'm home alone. I have no one, I mean it. I might be seen with some acquaintances, but I feel so lonely. I've been saving up for better car, and my family has been pressuring. Be about it, and they have no clue. I've been using my money for retail therapy means, 'cause it's the only things that makes me happy, for a little bit. I'm not in any debt, but I definitely should be saving my money for more important measures, and I feel like I can't.
I let a toddler shoplift because I hate my boss. I've posted here before on my job. I give customers extra change now and again. This is a new one, though. I had a mother with 4 kids come through my line. The youngest was about 2. She said he could have a candy bar and told him to put it on the belt. I rang everything up. Apparently, the little dude still hasn't internalized object permanence and grabbed the same bar from the display. Mom wasn't watching, but I was. I guess she thought one of the other kids gave the bar to little dude because she picked him up and carried him out, candy bar in hand. He waved by. I waved by back. No one came back later to return the bar or to pay for it. I know because I was there another 4 hours, and I didn't see dink. Corporate treats us like shit, so they can afford a missing candy bar. Mom probably didn't notice a second bar either.
I have to lie about where I am, so people leave me alone. I honestly hate going out and being social. I also don't enjoy drinking culture in general. I lie to people that I'm at work and can't access my phone. In reality, I only work 3 days a week and have lots of free time to bed rot and walk around London by myself. My friends think I work like 60 hours a week. I just get so drained being around people.
Call in with the worst attitude possible. I will absolutely make you take the long way. This just happened and I felt proud of myself, so I figured I'd post it here. I work at a call center, hooray, and we get a lot of calls for cards declining, probably 90% of which are because people don't activate their cards. Anyways, this guy calls in with the thickest accent possible and angry as hell that we are blocking his card. I finally get him to calm down enough to give me his name so I can pull up his account, and you would have thought he was trying to race someone with how fast he was talking. Finally, after many, many angry words about my competency, I get his account pulled up. To the surprise of no one except him, he has in fact not activated his card. At this point, I'm so fed up with his attitude that even though I could have activated the card with one click, I made him go through our card activation automated system, which will be an absolute pain for an impatient jerk like him. I hooked up with my ex. We broke up 7 months ago. We were together for 10. I no longer love him, but I love the comfort and the companionship. With our last encounter, I realized that the love I crave was not provided by him, but I crave to give that love and be able to express myself in that way. It's hard. I've tried online dating. It's horrible, LOL. The last guy I met that I thought was a nice guy turned out to be in the process of divorce, and I had to tell him I'd call the police if he kept showing up once we were dones. I thought the random show up was cute for a second, but especially not at my job. How do I move on when this person is 100% not for me? But we get along so well and are best friends outside of the deeper needs of a relationship. ETA, because I forgot my title, LOL. We did no contact, and I reached out again, and it ended in us both busting over and over, and it was so comfortable but can't be.
A few years ago, a friend loaned me $25 and I didn't pay him back. A few years ago, I, 22F, was in a really bad place financially, and a previous friend, 38M of mine, loaned me $25. Our group later found out he was a huge and I was the first of many to cut him off. However, I was taught to always pay back your debt no matter the situation, so this has been eating at me. Last time we spoke it was pretty nasty, and I ended up leaving his house and going home. I was about 18 at the time, so it was genuinely not too long ago, but I feel so bad. Update. I sent him the $25 through Venmo. Kudos to the commenter who suggested it. I genuinely never thought of that. And I feel so silly. I did something very dangerous on the road this morning. I was going to work. I leave the house at 5:30 a.m. I always take the highway to work. Normally at this time the traffic is just moderate, but this morning when I drove to work it was busy and there were more cars on the road. All the way down the highway there was traffic as construction was going on. This part of the highway, it's more difficult to see what's ahead of you. When I got to this part, there were all these cars stopped, and I was driving too fast and wasn't going to slow down in time. Without having my blinker on and not looking to my left, I quickly swerved and then I started braking. I thought pretty quickly, and I was extremely lucky there was no car on the left of me, especially with how busy the highway was at this time.
My mom and I basically stole clothes from a store at the mall. When I was a kid, I would go to the mall for a big back-to-school clothes shopping trip with my mom. I used to force her to let me waste her money at Abercrombie. She hated it there and was always really annoyed, but we would still shop there. We were checking out, and I had probably 6 shirts and 3 pairs of jeans. The girl behind the counter was a complete moron and somehow rang up the shirts and then rang up 3 of them again and didn't scan the jeans at all. My mom and I watched her do it and looked each other straight in the eyes and then just looked away. Since she never actually scanned the jeans, the total was close to $250 less than what it should have been. My mom paid and we left. Out of the store, I asked my mom if she was aware. She said, "Oh yeah, I'm aware. Let's go home." And we went straight to the car and left. You want me to do your work? I'll let you fail. I took part in a seminar at university about a year ago. Part of the course was a presentation that 2 students each had to give. I was put into a group with a guy. Let's call him T. T hasn't been there since the first lesson and hasn't received any messages from me, which is why I actually did everything myself. Now, a few days before the reverend was to be held, he asked me whether I had already done something and whether I could give him something that he could present. I then told him that I had researched it. I then said that I would give T all the information that I found out about his part of the presentation. I then sent him a text and a few bullet points, which were full of errors. I then wrote to the lecturer that T had prepared a few slides himself and insisted on including them in the presentation. We then gave the presentation, and his part was a real disaster, which also made him leave the course. I transitioned into a guy, and nobody knows yet. Hi, my name is Oliver, and I identify as a boy. I have been avoiding addressing this because I thought I felt like a boy because I was lesbian. I have been too scared to come out because I told myself it was all in my head. I finally have addressed this because I truly have felt like I don't belong as a girl and started finding comfort and feeling myself when I started to stray away from being a girl. I have been getting more mass clothing and I have experimented with different names, and I have finally found a name that feels more like me. I am scared to come out because I don't want to lose my friends, and I am scared. My family won't accept me. I am a lot more comfortable than I was, but I am still not there because I would like to cut my hair, dye it, and start changing my appearance. I don't hate women, I really don't. I just don't feel comfortable being one anymore. And so now, I am a boy. I may not look it, but I am trying my best to get there.
The man who took my virginity blocked me on everything. The very next day, it happened almost 9 months ago. I was dating this guy for a few months, and we finally got around to having sex for the first time. I was nervous because I had never done anything at all before with anyone. He had been with around 9 other women at this point. At least that's what he told me. And IDK, the entire encounter was very awkward and it hurt really bad, and just all around it was bad. I was humiliated, but I thought we were okay. I went home that night, woke up the next day and was blocked on everything. No explanation. I'm still grieving because to this day I don't understand what I did or why he did that, and it hurts so much, lol. I never told anyone what happened, just said things didn't work out with us. So this is the first time I've ever said it or wrote it down or anything. It genuinely destroyed my mental health and self-worth. IDK, how I'm supposed to get over that. He threw me away like trash after I basically gave myself to him. I'm still crushed, man. IDK.
Wish my dad hadn't left me as the title reads, yup. He left before I was even born. I'm 13, and seeing all my friends get picked up by dads and all and hanging out with them just makes me feel sad and ashamed that he left me. Was I really that much of a burden for him to leave me? I always think about an alternative life where he didn't leave me. I just wanted to play catch with a dad and talk about boy stuff. How do I cope with this? It never really came across my mind until I became 13, but I just feel sad. Might be pointless writing this, but IDK. Sometimes I cry while sleeping because of this, and IDK, how do I really cope with it? Might be a dumb post, sorry, thanks in advance. P's, one of my best friends for life, sometimes makes fun of me for that. My other friend tells him it's wrong, but he won't stop, and I don't really know how to stand up for myself, and it's a best fiend who I've known for years, and I don't. We might cut that douchebag off. We've been letting him get away with this BS for far too long. Sabotaged a classmate to get into the top 10. Joke's on me. At the beginning of senior year of high school, we learned where we stood in the rankings so we could use it to apply for colleges. I was 11. So, of course, I decided I needed to take someone out. I had study hall with number 9. She was smart, but a big gossip and a ditz. So all I had to do was distract her from studying. All year. Bring her all the gossip, throw off her focus, and it worked. I ended up at number 7, and she was 11. I only felt a little bad, P, but I learned after being accepted to my choice colleges that top 10 was really only important for scholarships, and that it was the 10%, not just the top 10 students. And in a class of 56 people, 7 ain't top 10. Whoomp.
I share a bathroom with my brother. How do I bring up the fact that he left semen on the toilet seat in the least awkward and most subtle way possible? I share a bathroom with my sister and my brother. I was ready to go to bed for the night, so I go to the bathroom, do my stuff. I sat on the toilet and didn't notice anything at that point. But then I pulled my normally loose-fitting shorts up, and they kind of glued onto my ass. At that point, I thought I had maybe spilled something oddly sticky on the inside of my shorts. It was only as I was cleaning up and I bent over that I realized the sticky thing was on me, not my shorts. All this to explain that for some reason it occurred to me to look at the toilet seat, and sure enough, I found what I expected to find. I already cleaned the seat, but maybe that was a mistake because I could have left it for my siblings to find, and then maybe my sister would have noticed and told him about it. I know this is dramatic, but this is honestly a little traumatizing, so does anyone have any advice for how to mentally stop feeling so grossed out?
My beloved grandfather asked me to sit on his facts. I wanted to get this off my chest. My grandparents raised me, and I have always loved them with my entire being. They were both incredibly religious, and were very well respected by both our community and church, as my grandfather was an active member. Not to mention, they took me in when my parents couldn't take care of me. But in 2016, my grandfather was diagnosed with cancer, and he passed away only a year after. I was a teen at the time. The church, our neighbors, my family, friends, and I were deeply saddened by this. I admit, even I spent years grieving his death. Now that I'm in my 20s, I don't want to reveal my current age to stay anonymous. I casually shared with my long-term boyfriend that my grandfather used to make me sit on his facts all the time when I was younger, while we were talking about our childhood memories. I always saw this as a playful routine. He was horrified and made me realize that this was not normal. I'm heartbroken.